This is a review of Francis Ford Coppola's critically acclaimed masterpiece, The Godfather, based upon the book by Mario Puzo. Its excellent writing, iconic characters, and extraordinary cinematography have made The Godfather an American classic.
The Godfather follows the Corleone family as they try to gain and maintain power in the organized crime scene in New York in the late 1940s.
The Godfather is widely regarded to be one of the greatest movies ever made.
In my opinion, Seth, the characterization was definitely one of the high points of the film.
So true. Don Vito is a true icon. His looks and personality traits are really easily recognizable.
I know what you mean. Marlon Brando did a fantastic job of portraying a mob boss, partly because he's a great actor, but also because he models himself after real-life mob boss Frank Costello. Marlon Brando greatly mimicked Frank Costello's raspy voice, and they both had a lot of political connections in addition to a disapproval of the drug trade.
Let's talk about Al Pacino, who plays Don Vito's son, Michael.
This is considered to be Al Pacino's breakout role and really put him on the Hollywood map.
Now, without giving too much away, Michael ends up being a very important character in The Godfather, a role which Al Pacino portrays really beautifully.
So beautifully, in fact, that Al Pacino won many awards for his role as Michael and was even nominated for an Oscar.
Al Pacino did a great job playing Michael. He made Michael's character, which was perfect. He made Michael's character cold and calculating and intense. I love the intensity that Al Pacino brought to Michael's character, to Michael. It was really excellent. Also, kudos to Anna Hill Johnstone, the costume designer for The Godfather. I thought it was perfect how they added the hat, Michael's top hat, when he went to meet Kay after 2 years after he hadn't seen her in a while. It really, for me, it completed Michael's transformation from baby brother Michael to powerful,
playing a bigger part.
Powerful, manly Michael, you know? I thought that was excellent. So good job, Anna Hill Johnstone. Yeah, just going along with Michael's transformation, we should talk about some of the main themes.
Of the movie.
Well, obviously.
So I think one of those themes that we were going to talk about was transformation, which was a huge aspect of the movie. It's not even just about one person's change, which I think is what makes the movie, so great. And it's not confusing in any way. There's too much going on. But I think at the end of the movie, you come to realize just how much has changed for many of the characters throughout the movie, namely Michael and Don Vito. And I think that what they go through is, without giving too much away, it's really important, and it's also subtle. I mean, there are definitely some main parts that you can see things like changing, but at the same time, it's just so well done where you like kind of, at least for me, I know at the end of the movie, just realized like, oh, like, it didn't used to be like this, and now it is. So I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, it keeps you on your toes. Keeps the audience on their collective toes.
Going along with, like, keeping people on edge like that, another one of the main themes that I loved throughout the movie was, power. And going along with that, the theme of fear versus respect. So, for power, those iconic puppet strings, who's holding the strings, you kind of, I love, one of my favorite aspects of the movie is that you never actually really know who is in complete power. Like, you might think it's somebody, but then either if somebody in the movie actually says that it's somebody else, or if you find out that it's somebody else, you always kind of feel like you don't really know completely 100% what's going on, and I think that's a really cool thing.
Really, because for me, I never really had that. I always felt that I pretty much know what's going on.
Well, I mean, they definitely let you in as a viewer as to, who, like, what the plans are and stuff. But there were definitely a couple points in the film when it was maybe pointed out to you that there was, not a transfer of power, but
Okay, I get it. It was a little fuzzy sometimes.
Sometimes, and it wasn't like confusing at all. It was just like you kind of you might have found out and been like, oh, like I should have realized all along that that's why this event happened. Maybe that's why somebody got killed or some event took place because somebody that you didn't quite know was maybe calling all the shots behind the scenes. And I think that's probably a pretty realistic depiction of real life mob.
Right. I guess it's a little hazy sometimes, which is a perfect metaphor for mafia life. A little hazy. Never really know what's going on.
And then, so the last quick theme that I wanted to talk about was fear versus respect, which is obviously a main one. Don Vito's a really imposing character, and, like, even in the first scene when you saw Bonacera come in and ask him for a favor, you saw how nervous he was, and, like, that kind of started it for me wondering, is he scared of him, does he actually respect him, and then, like, going,
and,
like, yeah, just...
And
like, going farther out, does anybody really, like, truly respect him? Like, I think you could see probably some of the hitmen, like, Clemenza and
Luca Brasi.
They actually, really respected the Don, and they wanted to
do they?
him.
Do they?
Or maybe
is there a line between fear and respect? Are they the same thing? Watch.
Watch and find out.
Yeah.
Alright, Seth, so tell me what your favorite part of the film was.
I love that ending montage with the killing, I guess, superimposed over the baptism. It really gave a sense of the two conflicting lives of Michael Corleone. One is the mob and the death and the killing, and the other is his family. So it was really interesting. Mm-hmm. What about you?
I would have to say that my favorite part of the movie was kind of watching Michael's transformation into a new person, and that's pretty much all I can say without giving it away. But he does kind of go through something very major with himself, and it kind of changes his beliefs and his thinking and, like, his lifestyle. And I think something like that in films can come off as just awkward or weird, but for him it seems pretty natural, even though it's such a big step for him. So
and it's so well done too in this film. It's the director is Francis Ford Coppola, who's a pretty big name in Hollywood these days. He is just so well done, the whole movie.
So I know we said we already loved it and we pretty much enjoyed everything about the movie, but is there anything that you can think of that you weren't as crazy about?
Well, I would have liked to know a little more about Don Tomasino. Who's his family? Who's his wife?
Getting a little creepy there, huh?
Well.
I agree. I also similarly would have liked to know a little bit more. I know in the book they explain kind of a little bit more of the backstory from when the family was still in Italy. And I know you can't have a movie that's too long, but I think it would have been really cool if they had shown a little bit more of Don Vito and his life back in Italy before the Corleones came to live in New York.
Well, that's what part 2 is about.
Oh, very nice. I guess we should all watch to see what that's like.
Right.
The one other thing I had, especially for the time that the movie was made, I thought that the violent scenes were really well done. I know that there's been some controversy about, if things were too violent, if the violence was kind of glorified. But I just, and again, like the gun scenes, the shooting scenes, the murder scenes, were really good. But it's in a scene where there's a fight, and it's not giving anything away because there are a lot of fights in the movie. But somebody gets punched, and it's a bad job on the editor's part because it's like a phantom
it's really a bad job on everybody's part.
Yeah, I mean, there are camera angles that could have gotten that done much nicer.
But overall, excellent movie. Any closing remarks there?
I want to say that I thought the movie was excellent. I totally agree with everybody. And, it's just, again, the characters, the casting was so well done. The sets were amazing. The plot was really great. And I just think that it all came together to make a really great movie. And, that's truly stood the test of time, and so many people love it to this day, and I totally understand why. So I would give this movie 5 stars.
Yeah, same. I agree with that.
'Cause, except for, the little stuff that we talked about, which, really doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things. It was a great movie. And we loved it. So, we hoped you enjoyed our review of The Godfather, the movie. And, yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a grand evening.